Hello, One and All, you Doc Stone, Chapter 201, Morse Talk. And hey, we finally heard back from the Y-Man! Yay! Though I just have to say, despite the overwhelmingly terrifying and ominous tone to this message, do you want to die? And despite the fact the Y-Man is depicted as the literal embodiment of death coming to rip out Senku's soul, I just could not view this message as a threat. I mean, obviously, Senku and his team viewed it as a threat. They viewed it as the Y-Man saying, I'm going to come down there and murder every last one of you. But to me, this seemed more like a warning, more like the Y-Man saying, why? Why did you wake up? You would have been safe if you stayed petrified, but because you woke up, you're going to die. They're going to come and kill you. Which, interesting, definitely interesting. I mean, I think it's been fairly well established at this point that petrification in and of itself was not a malicious action. I mean, if the Y-Man was just trying to wipe out all of humanity, there are far, far easier ways to go about it. I mean, I think we can all agree this last year has shown us that humanity does not fare all that well against massive viral pandemics, and I can't help but think, causing a massive viral pandemic would be way, way easier than creating a device that can, turn a person into stone while still allowing humanity to retain their consciousness and making sure that when they wake up down the road, they will be in perfect health. That's not an evil action. That's protective. So why? Why is the Y-Man doing all of this? I have two theories that I'm fairly confident. I mean, I'm fairly certain at least one of them is true. First off, the rogue AI theory. I mean, this is not a new theory at all. A lot of people have been speculating on this for a long time, but with this new information, I feel like it's been changed a little bit. So what if the Y-Man is an artificial intelligence that was designed to protect humanity, but after observing us for all of 5 minutes, it realized that that task was completely and utterly impossible. It watched us pollute the land, air, and sea, it watched us eat junk food that shortened our lifespans, and it watched us kill each other time and time again, so it decided to petrify us, leave us in a perfect state where we could never die and we could never kill each other. And as weird as this might sound, there's actually a real-life example of this happening, though obviously on a much, much smaller scale. Basically, these researchers created an AI that could play Tetris, and what they found after a couple hours testing was that the AI would always pause the game right before it lost, because it had been taught that losing was a bad thing, that it's a state that it should avoid, and so it did everything in its power to avoid entering that state. And that's exactly what the Y-Man is doing here. If he is an AI, he was taught that death is a bad thing, and so it found a way to make sure that no one would ever die again, to make sure that everyone was essentially immortal. But just like with the AI that played Tetris, it's failing to understand the point isn't to continue living, the point isn't to avoid death, but actually, be alive, to actually have experiences. We're able to, interact with other people. We're actually able to be happy, have fun, not just, sit in utter and complete darkness for millennia. That's not living. That's not being alive. And as for my second theory, I'm going to propose this entire series is basically Gurren Lagann. Now, for anyone who's never seen Gurren Lagann, go freaking watch Gurren Lagann. Binge it if you must. It is so, so worth it. And, spoiler warning for the next minute and a half of this video. Alright? Okay. So at the beginning of Gurren Lagann, it's revealed that the Spiral King has forced all of humanity to live underground for some reason, and anyone that comes up to the surface is immediately killed. But it's revealed in the second season, the reason why the Spiral King is doing this is because once the number of humans on the surface reaches 1 million strong, it will automatically trigger an invasion by the Anti-Spiral, this race of aliens who want to destroy all life in the universe before it can evolve to the point where it can threaten the universe itself. In fact, to avoid that, they actually put their entire species to sleep. Much like how the Y-Man petrified the entire Earth, so that's interesting, it's definitely interesting. And it's also definitely worth knowing the only times the Y-Man seems to get angry at Senku is when he starts broadcasting radio signals. Radio signals strong enough to reach the moon, so is it possible they could reach further into deep space and be collected, be noticed, be detected by some sort of galactic empire that wants to come to Earth and wipe out all intelligent life, or enslave all intelligent life, or eat all intelligent life? So one way or another, I really do think the Y-Man is trying to protect humanity. And I do think this makes a lot of sense. I mean, let's look at the villains of the series, besides Ipar, who's just utterly, utterly awful. Zeno and Tsukasa, these were not bad people. These were not evil people. They were merely people who were trying to save humanity in their own way, making sure that humanity didn't fall into the same mistakes of the past. So it would make so much sense for the Y-Man to be the same. He's just trying to keep humanity safe in his own way. And I could definitely see a very emotional moment between Senku and the Y-Man when he finally gets the moon, with Senku basically saying, yes, humanity's awful, yes, humanity's evil, but, we keep pushing forward, we keep advancing, we keep handing down new knowledge to the next generation, making sure that they do a little bit better than we did. And someday, they'll manage to solve all the problems. Someday they'll manage to overthrow this galactic empire that we have to be so afraid of, apparently. Maybe, but, the next generation is definitely a big thing in this series. And we even see that in the very first page of this chapter, this beautiful, beautiful color page, as Senku basically puts a hand on Suka's shoulder and welcomes her as a fellow science user. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. Though I must say, I seriously overestimated Suka's height. I thought she was way taller than she is. I mean, we saw that bit last chapter. I thought that was just, a scale issue. No, she is still really, really short, which I guess shouldn't be that much surprise. She was short when she was a kid, malnutrition definitely, before Senku showed up, so it makes sense she would not grow up to be the tallest person in the world. And then later on in this chapter, I just love how she teaches Kawaku how to write, and then says that she's going to train hard to become Dr. Suka, and Chrome refers to her as his science user rival. Oh my god, I love that. I freaking love it, and I cannot wait to see what they do with that moving forward. Seriously, these two back and forth, these two in competition with one another, I would absolutely love to see. I would absolutely love to see Senku say, okay, we need to build these two things, and Suka and Chrome basically saying, oh, I'll do A, and then Suka, you'll do B, and they compete to see who can get done better, who can make it faster, who can do better science. Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be so utterly, completely amazing. I love it. Anyway, then we see the Perseus 2.0 sailing through the ocean at ridiculous, ridiculous speeds. And I honestly feel bad for these fish. I mean, they've basically had control of the ocean for the last 3,000 years. And now they have to deal with boats? Boats? That's not something they've ever heard of in their entire lives, or even the lives of their great-great-great-grandfathers. It's also rather concerning that Kawaku says the boat is basically as fast as she is. That is so, so terrifying. Seriously, Kawaku, you're basically a superhuman at this point. And unfortunately, her superhuman abilities aren't enough to keep her protected from the heat. And yeah, I definitely get that. It's a good 89 degrees here today, which really does raise the question, why am I wearing a thick hat? I do not know. But thankfully, the new Perseus is wired with electricity, and that means beautiful, beautiful air conditioning. Praise be to the gods. And what's more than that, they even have a freaking freezer, which, I mean, I love the fact they have ice cold Senku Cola and ice cream, but just the look that Francois is giving this freezer is just complete and utter love and adoration. I love it. Oh, I love you, Francois. I freaking love you. And then everybody learns Morse code. Yay! And then this next page is so overwhelmingly busy and crowded. Seriously, this page could have been a chapter in and of itself. I do find it rather interesting that it's on film reel. I mean, we do have, cameras and photographs, so is films and movie going to be the next big scientific invention, next big scientific breakthrough? I mean, I could definitely see that. But anyway, like I said, this is a very, very busy page. First off, we have Taiju announcing that he's going to finish Katsuki's boat and get them back to Corn City, so I guess they are going the sea route? I mean, I find that rather interesting. That's a very, very long voyage down, around, all through South America and up and over again. I assume they were going to take the land route. I mean, maybe they've scoured the Panama Canal. In the meantime, they found out that it is actually crossable with a small enough boat. Maybe. Hard to say about that. Luna is very upset the fact she's going to be separated from Senku and goes full Cerberus mode again, as she's having multiple conversations with herself all at once. And I'm actually a little concerned about her, because she says, I'll explain everything to Brody and those guys as the bridge building go-between. I don't think that's going to work all that well. I mean, I assumed, when we first saw Luna, the fact that these two were basically worshipping her meant that she was like the idol of Corn City, but the fact that, Stanley used her as live bait and then abandoned her, and then when Stanley's team showed up down the road, they tied her up, it really makes me think that she is not all that valued in the, Zeno's Kingdom of Science. So yeah, I'm not really sure how well that's going to go. I mean, they do have Zeno on the radio, or I guess via Morse code, to give the messages to tell Brody's team to stand down, but I'm not sure how well that's going to go. I'm really not sure how well that's going to go. We also get confirmation that Genro is staying in Super Raleigh City because he is super, super terrified of going on the high seas again, which, fair enough. The high seas are really, really overwhelmingly scary place to be, especially when you don't know what's swimming beneath you. I mean, in the way of North America, they have those massive waves that just sent the ship flying time and time again. That is not an expedition I would want to repeat anytime soon. I'm also very excited that Katsuki is still working on the diamonds, still trying to perfect the Medusa, which of course he is. I can't believe I didn't think of that sooner. I mean, he is a master craftsman, and he is very bothered that Joel was able to create something he couldn't, so he wants to perfect it himself, so that way he can have a true toast with Joel when he eventually wakes him up down the road. And I love you, Katsuki, I freaking love you. But this isn't just an idle hobby for him. I mean, they definitely pack Medusas on this boat, meaning that if he can perfect the battery, they can basically petrify anyone they want, and that is, the ultimate weapon, the ultimate healing device, the ultimate everything, the ultimate science power. So yeah, if he can perfect those diamond batteries down the road, that's going to be a real lifesaver. And of course, Chelsea and Ryu are just super excited to travel around the globe. Chelsea's just, excited to go world exploring. And Ryu is definitely going to find a way to make a whole bunch of money on this expedition, because of course he is. Of freaking course he is. And Kawaku went swimming and caught some major fish. Very, very impressive. Seriously, I'm pretty sure those fish weigh several times more than she does. And then we have Francois and Jen attempting to taunt the Y Man into revealing anything about himself, and it just does not work. He does not respond at all, which, leads Jen to conclude the Y Man thinks he's so superior to us, he's above us, and he's not going to start sending down petrification beams because, he thinks we're beneath him. He thinks that we're beneath that level of attention. So I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I might want to disagree with Jen a little bit if my own theories are correct, that the Y-Man is some, AI who's trying to protect all of humanity, or some, alien that petrified humanity to make sure that we weren't detected by the anti-spirals, as I'm going to call them from now on. And then Senku proudly declares that they are going to Barcelona to get the fluorite they need to make the spaceship and the spacesuit. Huzzah! And I was close. Last chapter, I did say they were going through Straits of Gibraltar into the Mediterranean Sea, but I said they were going to Ukraine instead of Spain. But Ukraine and Spain do sound alike, and on a global scale, they are not that far apart. So, pretty good guessing. Pretty good guessing. Not really, no, but I'm still proud of myself for that. And this is basically where the age of exploration first began in the Mediterranean Sea, and they're just super excited to see what they see. But of course, it wouldn't be a Y-Man chapter if it didn't end on an ominous note. And for this note, we get to see a big, big shot of the moon. It looks just so overwhelmingly more massive than the Earth and just so alien, so foreign, like something's about to hatch out of it and destroy all of humanity. It actually kind of reminds me of, I'm not sure if anyone knows the YouTube channel Local 58. It is this super creepy channel. It's basically like, oh, aliens are coming, but it doesn't straight out say it. It's more like actual video you'd see if an alien invasion was happening. Just these creepy messages time and time again. The last video they have is one where it's actually this guy on a camcorder zooming in on the moon and seeing, a figure, a giant, monstrous alien something starting to hatch out of it. It's unnerving. Don't watch it alone and don't watch it at night. Seriously, I rewatched some of those videos last night and I had a very, very hard time falling asleep. Yeah, but anything else down below. What exactly do you think the Y-Man's message meant? Do you want to die? Is this a threat? Is he saying, Senku, if you keep up with this, I'm going to kill you somehow, some way? Or is he saying, you are going to die. Why don't you just stay petrified? We're safe and alive and don't have to worry about, finding food or getting killed by your neighbor or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, it just so feels like the Y-Man isn't going to be, evil. Isn't going to be this monster that's doing this for his fun. It feels like he really is doing this to try and save humanity in his own way, just the same as Zeno and Tsukasa did. And what do you think Suka's role is going to be moving forward? I mean, she did declare that she's going to train, and eventually become Dr. Suka, which I cannot freaking wait to say. I mean, I think it's fair to call Chrome Dr. Chrome now, so what level of science do you need to be officially designated a doctor in this new stone world? Let me know down below. Be sure to like and subscribe to the next video, and until then, peace!